All right, well, that's it. I'm sold. Just hearing the music again alone was enough to make me pre-order this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so fucking back. Now, obviously, if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, you have a lot to be excited about right now with the announcement and trailer for Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. I myself can barely contain my excitement, but you know, I got a 4-year-old sleeping in the next room, so gotta keep it down. A lot to take in and a lot to talk about with the announcement of this game, but genuinely first, I really want to know in the comment section, how many of you guys are going to play this game for the first time when it comes out in July? I believe that most people are like myself, where when we are taking a look at this trailer, we are comparing it, of course, to the original game, and most of our memories and nostalgia are going to come into play when we are evaluating this here trailer. So I'm genuinely curious about the thoughts and feelings of people out there who are looking at this trailer and literally just seeing it as a brand new video game to potentially play, and if that changes your evaluation at all. With all that being said, I'm going to finally start talking about what I thought about this trailer and what my expectations and feelings are for this upcoming brand new iteration of Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
After the original, this remake brings the classic game back to life. Rebuilt from the ground up with the latest Anvil engine to deliver the most thrilling pirate adventure.
Now, of course, the first thing you notice when you go into this trailer is the graphics, the updated graphics, the fact that it looks like a modern video game. They did not spare any expense with making the textures and the colors and everything in this game brighter and more beautiful. Now, I will say that one of my initial sort of misgivings with this trailer was the fact that my brain had a hard time just justifying and getting used to this new iteration of how Edward looks and how Steve Bond looks and how everyone else looks. To me, it sort of felt a little bit with the facial textures and features like the textures and features of the old game were sort of like in a Mortal Kombat fight with the textures that they added in this new iteration. The whole thing sort of gave me some Uncanny Valley, like I was watching Polar Express vibes, but at the same time, I think that a lot of that just has to do with I grew up with the faces and everything that were in the original Assassin's Creed, and so most likely it's just grumpy old man shouting at the sky that it looks different. So I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think I'll get over it pretty quick. The trailer goes on to show us the updated graphics of different towns and places in the Caribbean, such as Havana, such as Kingston and Nassau, and I think that all of those places are, of course, going to look great and beautiful and vibrant, but I couldn't help but notice there wasn't any talk about updating the cityscapes themselves. They didn't talk about adding more NPCs to make it feel more crowded and alive. They didn't talk about adding areas of the town to make the towns a little bit bigger or anything like that. And as far as the map goes and the characters, it's more of just an updated reskin. There's not really anything new in terms of content in this area. Not that I was really expecting there to be, but it's just something worthy of note.
The world feels truly alive.
Yo, who the fuck is that where Ed Walle's supposed to be?
Time to draw swords, lads.
Above and away, the biggest thing that has me excited for this game is that they seem to be doing an amazing job of blending the old style Assassin's Creed games in with the new. I don't think that the combat in Assassin's Creed has ever felt truly great or rewarding. If you go back to the old original games, you walk around feeling like an invincible badass, but in terms of the combat, there's not much there. And then when you go to the new ones, it always felt like you were spamming the same animations over and over again, dodge rolling and hoping that there was a moment where you could just spam your light attack or something along those lines. It really seems like they did a magnificent job in this game, making sure that the combat feels a little bit slower and more tactical as it did in the original games, but they also don't have that just mindless button spamming, and you actually have to respect your opponents a little bit as you do in the newer iterations of Assassin's Creed. They've also brought back all of the joys of modernization, such as being able to crouch when you choose during stealth missions, as well as changing ramping up the annoying escort / eavesdrop missions where you don't instantly desynchronize the minute that you get spotted. They've even done upgrades to the ships in the form of different officers that you can get with new quests for them to unlock brand new upgrades, as I just said. They also have added new missions for Blackbeard and Steed Bonnet. The Steed Bonnet one for me in particular is very satisfying because it always felt like in the original story you just kind of see him fly off into the wild blue yonder when you really haven't had that many meetings if you kind of stop and think about it. From the millisecond that the trailer started, I got hit with nostalgia so hard it could only be something akin to re-listening to old Linkin Park or Evanescence albums. It felt really good to feel a game from Ubisoft that was guided by passion and not by whatever the share prices were deemed by the AI algorithm for whatever product they were putting out. The game seems the absolute perfect blend of the old style Assassin's Creeds mixed with the modernization of the new ones, and I could not be happier to say I've pre-ordered this game and I am waiting with bated breath for that fated day that this game comes out, and I will probably play nothing else, at least for the next couple of weeks. But with that being said, there is a ginormous elephant in the room that we have to address. We are going to see a lot of videos, and I'm sure you guys already have the way I have, of people saying about that this game will save Ubisoft, or you'll see some videos out there with the big talking point of whether or not this game will save Ubisoft and save the Assassin's Creed franchise. Now, it definitely seems to me like every single thing that has been added to this game is a step in the right direction, and the blend of modernization and retro Assassin's Creed mechanics is something that really gets me excited for future Assassin's Creed projects. But at the same time, we have to remember that the bones of this particular game were completed 15 years ago, and that the bones of new Assassin's Creed games, at least in my opinion, have not been up to snuff. For years now, it seems that Assassin's Creed games and Ubisoft in particular have been one of the poster childs of AAA bloat. Games that are super big and super beautiful and at surface level seem like there's an infinite amount of content and things to do in them, but when you get into the game, you're left with a hollow feeling inside as nothing in the game really resonates with you and nothing seems to hit the mark, and you sort of get the feeling as if you're floating in this just gray, formless void. Now, there's a lot of people out there that might disagree with me, but at least for me, I can remember logging into Assassin's Creed Valhalla and instantly deleting the game probably about 2 or 3 hours later. Now, just before this occurred, I had 100% completed Ghost of Tsushima, the original one, and I can remember riding around on my horse throughout different parts of the Tsushima island with Jin, just reflecting and thinking about that game that had just, absolutely scratched an itch for single player story game that I hadn't felt had been scratched in a super long time. And I can remember leaving that game, booting up Assassin's Creed Valhalla, cautiously optimistic to begin yet another Assassin's Creed RPG game, and just feeling absolutely empty inside. Everything felt bland. The characters felt bland, the voice acting felt bland, the gameplay felt bland. I can remember just seeing the same animation for stabbing somebody in combat over and over and over again in the very short amount of time that I played. The stealth felt bland. Just everything about that game just didn't sit right with me. And if you're somebody that completely disagrees, that's okay. I can only speak on my particular viewpoint and my particular experiences. While I am excited for all of these upcoming changes and adaptations in Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, I don't have a ton of confidence that even with these changes added, the next Assassin's Creed game, the next brand new Assassin's Creed, will satiate fans in the way that the old ones used to. And I think also I will hear the argument made to me by a friend a couple of days ago that Assassin's Creed players really don't know what they want. I was never been a fan of the RPG games, but I do remember people clamoring for RPG updates back when Unity and Revelations were coming out, and then absolutely hating them when they were added in Origins and Valhalla. And I think for most people, and including myself, It might just be in a spot where Assassin's Creed just is kind of doomed to fail in the court of public opinion. At the end of the day, I don't think this game is an Assassin's Creed saver or a Ubisoft saver. At the end of the day, I think this is just a W for fans like me who want to cash in on nostalgia. I'm not going to pretend to know how Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed should be moving forward. Instead, I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced because I am so excited for this game. And I'm so excited to relive some of my, in my view, glory days of gaming. Also, super sad Assassin's Creed 4 multiplayer isn't coming back because that game was so fun to play with friends, and who among us wouldn't want to see another Aussie gamer versus the dandy round 25?
Fuck! Hello? Cunt!